Hi everybody, I thought what would be really nice today is I can share the thing I love the most, which is baking. Whenever I'm feeling a bit down or a bit anxious or a bit worried, I like to bake. There's nothing nicer than baking a cake, but also smelling the cake in the oven and then eating the cake. So I thought what would be really nice today is we do like a really simple recipe, something that you can do at home. You don't need weighing scales. We're just going to be using this yogurt pot to weigh out all our ingredients to make some chocolate chip muffins. So, will I talk you through the recipe, the ingredients first? So we've got our 150 gram yogurt. I've picked hazelnut, but you can use vanilla, you could use strawberry, you can use raspberry, you can use lemon. We've got some chocolate chips, we've got 1 egg, baking powder, milk, self-raising flour, caster sugar and some sunflower oil. And the equipment we've got is 1 muffin tray, some nice colourful cupcake cases, some measuring spoons, a whisk, wooden spoon, spatula, a normal dessert spoon and 2 bowls. Okay, let's get started. Okay, so when we make muffins, we have 2 different bowls. We've got a bowl for wet ingredients, and then we've got a bowl for dry ingredients. So we're going to do our wet ingredients first. So the first thing to go in is our yogurt, and then next thing is 3/4 of the yogurt pot with sunflower oil. If you don't have sunflower oil, because it is a time where we're having to be a bit flexible, you can use olive oil. It will taste a bit of the olive oil, or you can use rapeseed oil, or you could even use some melted coconut oil if you wanted to. So we've got our yogurt, we've got our sunflower oil, we've got our egg, and then the last wet ingredient is our milk. So it's half of the yogurt pot of milk. So once that's all in the bowl, we can give that a whisk round. So I'm just going to put my spoon over here and get my whisk and give it a nice whisk, breaking up the yolk and making sure all the ingredients are mixed together till they're smooth. Okay, so now we're going to go to our dry ingredients. So I'm just going to wipe out my pot with a bit of kitchen paper. It doesn't need to be too neat and tidy, but it just stops things sticking. And then we're going to do 1 cup of sugar into our other bowl. There we are. And then we've got 3 cups of self-raising flour. If you can't get hold of self-raising flour, you can always use plain flour and add a bit more baking powder. If you go online, it'll tell you the conversion for self-raising flour to plain flour, so how much baking powder you need to add. And it's always worth knowing these things because we can't always get exactly what we need. 1 teaspoon of baking powder, just to help give them a bit of oomph in the oven. And baking powder is great because it works twice. It works with the acidity in the ingredients, but it also works with the heat of the oven. And then we're just going to add our chocolate chips. Now obviously if you decided that you were going to use a raspberry yogurt, you could, instead of chocolate chips, you can add some frozen or fresh raspberries. A lemon yogurt would be really nice with blueberries, and you can just mix and match to suit yourself. I this week did plain yogurt and I added in some sultanas, and that was really delicious. So now we're going to add our wet ingredients into our dry ingredients, and it's really important not to overmix, because if you overmix, you will end up with a tough rubbery muffin. So really, we're just mixing as much as we have to make sure it's combined. Don't worry about a few extra lumps. So there we are. We have got our mixture mixed up and ready to go in the tin. Okay, so now our muffin mix is all ready and it's ready to go into our cases. So we're just going to fill our cases about 3/4 full because they will puff up in the oven, and we're going to try and make a whole tray full. So hopefully that will be enough to have some in your tin, and you can always pop them into some freezer bags and they'll freeze really nicely. And if you were to make some ones with perhaps some raspberries in them or some blueberries in them or some, you know, you can buy the dried apple, you could add that in with a nice pinch of cinnamon. If you put them in the freezer, these would make a really nice breakfast muffin. So if you were to take them out the night before, you could always even pop them into a warm oven for 5 minutes to refresh, and then you've got a really easy breakfast to make, and a breakfast that I don't think anybody would turn their nose up in. So I'm just going round topping them up a little bit more. They don't need to be neat and tidy. They will do what they're going to do. The magic of the oven will make them rise and make them golden and make them beautiful, and also make your house smell nice. Okay, so that's your muffins ready to go in the oven. Your oven will be heated to 180 degrees or gas mark 5, and they will go in for about 20 minutes. Okay, here we go. Great, so here's our muffins now out of the oven. The way to know if they are done is to press them gently, and if they spring back, then you know that you haven't got a soggy middle. So these ones are looking beautiful and brown. Pop them onto your tray. They probably took about 20 minutes in the oven. So I would put your timer on for 18 minutes, test them, and then put them on for another couple of minutes if they are not ready at all. Because obviously it depends on your oven. It depends how much you fill your cake cases, and it also depends on how impatient you are, because I sometimes would take them out a bit early if I really wanted them. Okay, so there we go. There's your yogurt pot muffins. You can make any flavour you like. You don't need weighing scales, and that's a lovely way to spend your time.